So today we're going to talk about how to get rid of bloating and abdominal distension. All right, the major source of bloating in your gut is microbial fermentation. Now, what does that mean, fermentation? Fermentation is simply the chemical breakdown of a carbohydrate by a microbe. And the microbes are releasing enzymes to help break down carbohydrates. Specifically fiber, but also other carbohydrates and sugars too. But these microbes have the ability to break down fiber, whereas our bodies do not have the ability to do that. So these microbes can break down these undigestible fibers and turn them into some interesting things. One is it turns it into a small chain fatty acids. So these microbes are turning fiber into a type of fat. Very interesting. Also, lactic acid, also methane, methane gas, and hydrogen gas, which, by the way, this is very explosive. A long time ago, they used mannitol and some type of device to help certain people with constipation. Apparently, there's been situations of intra-abdominal explosions with somehow sparking some of these gases and creating a terrible effect. So now they don't use the mannitol and that device anymore, thank goodness. Okay, CO2 is another byproduct, and then nitrogen gas. And by the way, these gases right here have no odor, but this one does. Hydrogen sulfide, and there's several other gases too that will produce a very bad odor. An average person actually produces between 200 and 2,000 milliliters of gas every single day from this process. So one of the enzymes that these microbes make is called cellulase, to break down cellulose, because that's a fiber. So anytime it says ACE, that means it's an enzyme. So in this case, an enzyme is something that actually breaks something down. And most of this process of fermentation happens in the large bowel. But if you have a condition where the microbes are actually in your small intestine, it's called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, then you're going to have a big problem because you're going to get fermentation in the wrong place, and that can create a lot of abdominal distension. So there's a couple things you need to do if you have a lot of bloating. First of all, adjust your carbohydrates. And when I'm talking about carbohydrates, I'm talking about adjust or eliminate like certain things like fruit, garlic, onions, fruit, asparagus. Milk has lactose in it, and so does yogurt. You just need to avoid these right here. And there are other vegetables as well that you need to avoid. And I put a link down below for more data on that if you have this problem. But these are a must. So I just would avoid these things right here. So you want to adjust the carbs and adjust the fiber. So maybe you don't want to consume the large quantities, especially if you have this happening in your small intestine, because it's going to overload the system. So you might want to cut back on the fiber and see where your body is comfortable. But what's interesting is these microbes will adapt to almost any environment. So as you change your diet, these microbes will adapt to that and they'll grow. And you'll get a more diversified family of microbes just to adapt to what you're eating. So over time, you'll get less gas. And I also forgot to mention beans, of course, that's sort of a given, but I do want to mention that that can create a lot of gas. Next thing is add a good probiotic. If you add more microbes, you can get more help to digest some of this fiber. You'll have a more complete digestion and you have less gas. Now, when you consume things like fennel and ginger and anise and peppermint, these help reduce abdominal distension and help release the gas because they relax the colon and the little sphincters, which are valves, so there's less pressure in your abdominal area. It doesn't get rid of the gas by dissolving it, it just allows the gas to pass. The next and the last thing, which is very important, is to acidify the stomach, either with apple cider vinegar or betaine hydrochloride. That'll just improve the digestion in the stomach area, so then the small intestine doesn't have to work so hard, as well as the large intestine. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. And if you haven't already subscribed, click the red button below and that little bell icon so you can be notified of all the new videos that I'm going to be releasing. And I have some very cool and interesting videos coming up in the next coming weeks. Plus, in addition to that, you'll be notified of the live Q&A sessions that I'm going to be doing throughout the week, and you don't want to miss those as well. So stay tuned for more great content.